If you hear a voice in the background, it belongs to the actor Robert Blake, who is truly an original. He is perhaps best known for his work in the television series Beretta in the 1970s, but he has bowed to no one throughout his career, earning him a reputation as both a perfectionist and as one tough customer. Mr. Blake, I've been waiting to see you here for a long time, and I thank you for joining us here at CBS. Welcome.
May it please the court.
Yes, sir. After Beretta, and I know you've been asked this 100 times, but I'd like to hear it again.
Certainly.
Where did you go?
Oh, Lord, I've done that all my life. I walk out in the sunshine for a little while, then I got to go into a rock and talk to the lizards and disappear and do all those terrible things to myself. Actually, Beretta was a terrible thing that I did to myself to start with. I mean, if I live to be a jillion, I will sweep floors, I'll shine your shoes before I do a series.
Why?
Oh, God. I mean, I know some people, Robert Wagner would rather do a series than eat.
That's correct.
I mean, he's just happy as a pig in whatever.
Yes, exactly right.
Well, in the first place, no one goes from doing major parts in major motion pictures with world-class directors to a series. That's my self-destructive nature, which used to be very constant in my life. I mean, how do you go from Cold Blood to Beretta?
Yeah, true.
You do a series so that you can go work with giants. True. And so there I was, you know, rowing a boat full of holes with a bunch of losers saying, come on, guys, we can make this wonderful. We can do it. We can do it. A series, somebody asked me the other day, said, what is it? Doing a series is like screwing a gorilla. You do it, and then you're done, and the gorilla says, I ain't through yet. And you got to keep on doing it. And you say, how could something that felt so good feel so bad? And the gorilla keeps saying, come on, baby, come on, baby. Pretty soon you feel like you got a rectum full of Brillo and you just want to die.
I understand where you're coming from, brother. I understand.
I will never do anything that doesn't have a clear light at the end of the tunnel.
Let me ask you about Robert Blake, the individual. You've never had an entourage. In fact, for a long time, you didn't have an agent, you didn't have a manager, you didn't have a publicist, you didn't have a personal assistant, all these things that are vital to a major star. What's the matter with you?
Oh, God, how long is your show? How can I briefly say this? You know, I have a reputation of being a junkyard dog and being crazy and all these things, and for years, it was true. And only like 5 or 6 years ago, I began to have memories of terrible child abuse, physical and sexual, awful stuff that was done to me. And when you say, what's Robert Blake's story? Why isn't he where he's supposed to be? Why doesn't he? I have an agent now that I haven't talked to in 6 months. I mean, I'm better than I was by a long shot. But I still have a very difficult time living in the sunshine.
You notice that I didn't ask you, why aren't you where you should be? Because you may well be where you're exactly supposed to be right now. I'm not judge or jury on that. But is that a question you ask yourself?
I don't ask it anymore because I have all the answers. I mean, it took me a long time to get here, but I'm right on time. I feel much more comfortable with myself than I ever have in my life. The last 3 or 4 jobs I've done came off just fine. Money Train was great.
Yep.
Even though they held my salary till the movie was over in case I ate one of their children or something. It all worked out okay.
Okay.
And I just got through working with David Lynch. He's wonderful. He's much crazier than I am. I think he lives on Jupiter or Venus or
he's
somewhere.
got the new picture coming out that you're in, but I forget the name.
It's called Lost Highway.
Uh-huh, that's David Lynch, Lost, yeah.
And I play the devil, I think. I said, David, I've read this script through a dozen times, and I don't understand one word of it, so I'm going to be the most cooperative act you've ever had. You just tell me where to stand and what to say and how to say it, and I will do it, because I don't know what the hell this page is about. I love his movies, though. But if you ask me what the movie's about, I don't know.
Okay, that's okay. You've been around movies your whole life, haven't you? As a kid, you were around movies.
I started when I was 2.
You saw Spencer Tracy work?
Yes. When I was 4 years old, I walked on the set, and I said, I can do that. I know what he's doing. I don't mean hit the marks and say the jokes. I mean, I understood what he was feeling. You know, I think if you're really lucky, you're born with a talent for something. And if you're extremely lucky, you find that something in life.
Yep.
But I was just really lucky that I got in front of the box and I felt absolutely comfortable. It was the first time anybody ever hugged me. First time anybody ever said, you know, attaboy, we like you, you belong here. I went home to an asylum every night with lunatic, crazy, sick parents and brother and sister and madness of all kinds. But I knew all I had to do was walk down the street to MGM and somebody say, hey, he's here. And it felt great.
Yeah, you were in our game.
Yes, I
Very
was.
popular art. In fact, you were going to be the next great big. You were going to be the next big child star when you were a kid.
When I was 8 years old, they starred me in a film. It was Donna Reed's first film and Dan Daly's first film, and I was going to be the next Mickey Rooney and all that. And I did the movie, and it was very successful, and my father got insanely jealous and went and messed up with the studio and was barred from the lot. And he was an alcoholic, and he was a nut. He knocked himself off when he was like 45 or something like that. I don't talk about it with a great deal of compassion, because if I do, I'll be all over the floor crying, and people will be here with towels.
You don't have to talk about it if you don't at all.
No, it's cool. I really feel like maybe somebody out there who was locked in closets when they were little and made to eat on the floor like a dog and stuff like that, and they say, well,
your father did
Robert's 60 years old, and he's here, and he's okay, so maybe I don't have to jump out of a window.
Your father did that to you?
My father did. Well, my father, my mother, I was born into a very ugly environment. And that's the name of that tune. Don't ask me why I survived. They didn't want me. You know, they had 2 abortions before me, and the coat hanger didn't work, and that's how I got born. And I knew I had to hit the ground running or I was going to be under. And it's taken a long, long time.
You say your father was jealous of you, so I would presume he was also an actor of sorts, but probably not a very successful.
He wanted to be a singer and a dancer and everything, but he wasn't very good at anything. And he had an act where he played the guitar, and my brother and sister, who were older than me, they danced, and it sucked. They were really terrible. And when I was 2 years old, I walked out on the stage and said, I can make these people laugh, and so I did, and that was the beginning.
Let me ask you about the experience of making In Cold Blood.
You're going to be very disappointed.
Really?
Yeah.
See,
people always ask me, well, how do you play a murderer? I say, you know, the truth is you don't have to reach that far. It's not that big a deal.
Yeah, but I wasn't going to ask you about that,
okay.
but I was going to ask you about, was Truman Capote on the set for the shooting of the film?
No.
And,
I never met him until after the movie was over.
And did you work at all when the attorney, John Welsh, you know, who was in the McCarthy hearings, was the one who finally bagged Roy Cohn? Did you do any scenes with him, or was he on the set when you were there?
No. Richard Brooks wrote it, produced it, directed it, and had me and Scott Wilson, and that's all he had. And when the film was over, I met Truman, and we became fast, close, dear friends. I miss him every day. He was one of the most intelligent, brilliant, insightful guys.
Tortured guys.
Very much so. A lot of those people, you know, Tennessee Williams, Christopher Isherwood, a lot of his friends. But when it came to their work, they were absolutely
they were geniuses. I remember, Robert, interviewing Capote on the old show at NBC. And it was towards the end of his run, and he had been drinking, obviously.
Yeah.
But in spite of that, his lucidity, his perception, his vision of life it was just wonderful to be in his company.
He was beautiful. God. He loved me most dearly. He told me many times, you know, to take care of myself. I would get calls, like 3 o'clock in the morning, the phone would ring. Hi, Robert. This is Truman. I said, well, who the hell else would it be? Something like that. Truman, where are you? Well, I don't know. I think I'm in a principality somewhere. There are people walking around with robes on, but I don't know where I am. And how are you? And he would be in a castle someplace in Europe at 10 o'clock in the morning, you know, on the Riviera or something. And he would call to say, how are you and what's going on.
Did you see the show that Bobby Morse did, True?
Yeah.
Oh, what a great show. What a life. Listen, I got to pause for a commercial.
Certainly.
We are with Robert Blake. The toll-free is up and running. And tonight, if you say the secret word and receive a free Late Late Show T-shirt. We're gonna bring back the old secret word. You know, they don't make that show anymore, so we're gonna just steal it. Back with Robert Blake and you on the toll-free after these messages.
whatever.
We've
I'll
now
adjust.
endured 3 minutes of complaining from our guest, Robert Blake, who complained about where the table was with his damn cup of tea.
Nobody ever provides for left-handed people in
I
this
want you to know
universe.
that this is the first time in 200 and how many shows, 57, that table has been on that side of the chair. And by the way, I'm glad you asked, because any change in the set here is a blessing to me. I welcome change. I welcome things that are different.
Yeah.
Is there anything else we can do to make you more comfortable?
Can I wear a dress?
What size? We were talking in the break, you know, we had invited you to be a guest on the show I did for CNBC Cable,
Yes.
the first one.
Yes.
And I remember you and I talked on the phone, and we agreed that you would
Yes.
come on and you were going to do the show, and then
You were terrible to me on the phone.
I didn't mean to be.
Well, it was your first episode,
I was nervous.
and you were up so tight you couldn't have got a dime up your butt with a sledgehammer. You started yelling at me, now I want it to be funny. Don't you understand? Funny? I said, well, get Richard Pryor or somebody. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. And being the gent that I am now,
Yeah.
I would have said, hey, the guy's uptight about his show. He doesn't mean it personally on me. But I used to take everything personally.
Gotcha.
I could tangle ass with a butterfly. It didn't make any
Gotcha.
difference. The whole world
Make
was my
coffee
enemy.
nervous, yeah.
I go out there and put my head through a stone wall. Somebody says the door's over there, and I'll kill him. I don't want no door. I have to have a wall with my head. It's my life. But you can see how mellow I am now.
Yes, I can. You certainly have calmed down. Wow. Here is Lynn on the toll-free in Amityville, New York. Hello.
Lynn on the toll-free.
Yeah.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine, Lynn. Welcome to our show. Happy Friday.
I enjoy your show so much.
Thanks.
Mr. Blake, I just wanted to ask you, with all the things that you've discovered over the last 6 years, has this helped you relate to your kids better, you know, open up to them and learning things about yourself? Has it helped you be a better parent to them?
I wish in my heart, if I had anything to live over, I'd be a much better parent. Unfortunately, I can't fix what I did to my kids. They have to go back in their own soul and do the work that I did. But I don't know, somehow I'm blessed. My kids survived. When you think about how many Hollywood kids, you know, kill themselves, and if anybody ever writes that book, it's going to be a horror story.
Or how many Hollywood kids get caught up in the abuse of drugs, get alcohol.
And the end of that road is death. But my kids survived. My son is a good, working, successful actor and a good musician. My daughter is, well, what would my daughter be?
Psychiatrist.
Whatever, that's right, you got it, exactly.
Really? Okay.
She has, you got it the first time out.
And I'll bet she's got a steady patient that she
I was her
sees.
first patient. When she was 2, she said, Daddy, what the matter?
Well, I have to tell you, sir, I'm very glad to hear that, because you've given the rest of us a tremendous amount of pleasure. We so much enjoyed you and the Mice and Men and so many of your, and I know you might have hated Beretta, but we loved it. And I just want to thank you so much for your sharing your abilities with us. And I wish you well and your family well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Lynn, thanks a million, and thanks for being up with us tonight.
Oh, thank you, Tom.
Okay.
Good night.
All right. Good night, young lady.
That's the hardest thing in the world,
Which is?
is when somebody says something nice. You know, when you're coming out of the woods, it becomes easier to be generous to other people. But when somebody is generous to you, you want to go run and hide, because it's like...
By the way, if you think that you're the only one who walks in those shoes, think again. I share that feeling. All of us share that feeling. You know, you can damn me with criticism and I will listen. But if you cover me with praise, I become embarrassed.
Well, you have no worry here.
Okay. So your daughter is a shrink, huh?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Successful and doing well.
Good, good. Has she been of help to you? Not that you go and see her. I mean,
No.
but do you and she converse as father and daughter, and does she know where you are?
I love my daughter most dearly. She is my best friend. She's a joy and a light in this world. And hey, Deli, how you doing? And like that. No, I hope that one day she will get over trying to save me and accept the fact that I'm going to be here for a while.
Uh-huh.
And like that.
Okay. And now there was another story that I read about in your youth, when you would see all kinds of actors getting ready to go before the camera, you know, and they would go through their various preps. You know, everybody's got a different way to get ready to play a scene.
Yeah.
What were some of the things that you saw?
I started acting when I was 2, and I was very comfortable. You know, I worked with Bogart and Garfield and Betty Davis and great directors and all like that kind of stuff. And Spencer Tracy would be over there reading the paper, And somebody say, Spence, we're ready. He says, the camera rolling yet? Say, okay. And he'd walk in front and do Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Or Mickey Rooney be over playing the drums and doing things. Or Charles Lawton was playing chess and somebody say, action, boom, and you just do it.
Just like that, huh?
Yeah, they rely on a tremendous sense of truth and a great imagination. And so when I came out of the Army, I was like in Alaska in the infantry and all that crazy stuff. And I started going back to work, and I was falling off horses for a living and this and that. And then I got a job on a picture called Pork Chop Hill with Gregory Peck.
Sure, sure.
And he brought out all these New York actors, Martin Landau and Harry Gardino, bless him, he just one I loved him most dearly. Rip Torn, there were like 900 of them there. And so I go to work, and I got my pages, and I'm waiting. And these guys are doing all kind of weird things. One guy's over here throwing up in a corner, another guy's doing push-ups, another guy's got a letter, and he's reading it. And he'd get in front of the camera and play a scene. I said, what the hell's going on, man? I snuck over in his bag to read the letter, and it was a Dear John.
Oh, God.
From his chick in New York.
Yeah, got it.
And I said, well, I got to go to acting class and learn how to do all this stuff. So I did. I went and I studied with, like, the method teachers and Sandy Meisner and all this stuff. And I figured out after a long time, because I had very little ego, I said, that's all the stuff that you do when you don't know how to do it. Right. You don't know how to pretend that you're exhausted, so you have to stay up 4 nights and 3 days
to
and stick your fingers down your throat. Yeah. So I started working again, and I started doing what they were doing just to be an actor. They'd say, Mr. Blake, I said, no, I'm not ready. Give me a moment. Hang around, and I go through a bunch of stuff. Yes, okay, roll them. No, I'm not ready. And I got bored with that, so I went back to doing what I always do. Just hit the marks and say the jokes.
Yeah.
And trust. Yeah. You know, if you're supposed to be in love with the woman across from you, you're in love with her.
Right.
You don't have to imagine your mother and your sister and your grandmother and all like that kind of stuff.
I'm in love with the woman across from me, right.
May it please the court.
May it please the court. Like you say, know the lines, hit the marks, and
say
go
the
home.
Jokes. Yeah.
Say the jokes.
Cagney said, just lock your knees, look him in the eye, and tell the truth. That great story about Cagney when they said, gee, this guy you're working with is 6 foot tall. You want the lifts? He said, when the scene's over, he'll be my size.
We are with Robert Blake. We'll continue after these messages. With Robert Blake, here is Holly on the toll-free in Fort Riley, Kansas. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine, Holly. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you, and I love your show.
Thank you, and that's not me blowing smoke. It's Blake. I don't want to, you know, I took the heat on that for 9 years over.
You look great, Tom, by the way.
Thank you very much. So do you.
Oh, appreciate it. My question is, I was just wondering, first of all, I think Robert Blake looks better than he's ever looked in his life. I've been watching him since I was a little girl, and my question was, how did he overcome his substance abuse problem, and if he had one?
I am an addict. I will abuse anything. If a candy bar makes me feel good tomorrow, if you cooked your shoes and I ate them and it changed how I felt, I'd buy a truckload of shoes.
I understand
I've
that.
done anything
if you
all my
enjoyed
life
grapes, you'd eat a vineyard. I got it.
to get out of the way I feel. And the main thing that I would tell anybody who's got problems like that is you can't fix the inside from the outside. You know, you can be a workaholic, an alcoholic, a drug addict, whatever, all to try to fix the inside, and it never works. It's no better than a hairdo. You got to go inside and fix what's wrong with you. I had a therapist for 30 years. Count them, Jack, 30 years, 5 days a week. And all he said is, well, if you do this, you'll feel better. Well, if you become successful, fame, fortune, power, this, that, whatever. And the more I did, the worse I felt. And my life came completely unglued 10 years ago when I was at the pinnacle of everything, and I was the envy of everybody, and I couldn't stand the way I felt. You have to go inside and fix it.
Do the work.
Or you'll still be trying to fix it from the outside. Well, I'll change my house, I'll change my clothes, I'll try this dope, I'll try that dope. I'll go through 9,000 women, I'll do something. Never works.
And so there's no fast answer to how did you ever escape substance abuse or alcoholic abuse. It was hard work that you had to do.
Yeah, yeah. I would recommend to anybody in the universe to instantly get on a 12-step program and get around people of your own kind, whatever your problem is, and see how they're doing it, and let them, you know, love and help you back to health.
Right. Holly, I hope that answers your question.
It does, and I appreciate it. And he, like I said before, I've been watching him for a long time, and I think he looks great, so he's doing something right.
Okay.
I can't see you, but you got a sexy voice.
Oh, thank you very much. That made my evening.
All right. Good night, Holly.
Okay,
Thank
good
you.
night. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye. They told me to ask you about the time you and John Peters tangled.
Oh, man. Well, I hadn't worked for a while. I did the John List story, and I did Hoffa and a couple of things. Then my usual disappearance act happened. And then...
and when was this now? 86, 87?
I got a phone call a while back, and a lovely lady said, hey, you feel like working? And I happened to be in that mood. I said, yeah. So there was this picture, Money Train, and, you know, there was this part that normally would hire Dennis Hopper or Tommy Lee Jones or somebody to play. And so he said, I'm going to get you this part. I'll call some people and yada, yada, yada. So I went to New York, and I read for it, and I tested for it, and they checked my teeth and gave me a proctological examination. I went through everything there was to go through, man. I said, well, by the time I get on the set, I will have done this part 15 times. I did that with Barbara Streisand once. And finally said, she said, you're going to be great in the part. I said, darling, I already did the part, and I didn't do the movie. So anyway, I'm back in my house in Los Angeles. Now they said you got to go meet the producer, John Peters.
John Peters, Mr. Peters.
I remember him when he was a barber.
Yeah.
And so they sent a limousine to my house, a 9,000-foot-long thing, and they took me to that big fancy hotel up behind Sunset Boulevard, way up there, that has the fish ponds and all that stuff.
The Bel Air Hotel.
Way up there someplace. And I got out and I said, go take 2 lefts and 3 rights, and I finally get to his magnificent suite. And he's a young cat, and he's pretty big, and he's sturdy and stuff like that. So we sit down and we start talking. I say, how much more? What I got to go through, man?
Just let me do my work and go home. Yeah.
I'm done with this part already. And he's talking to me, and all of a sudden he says, you used to box, didn't you? And I said, yeah, I was in the Army, and I boxed a little bit and stuff like that. And he said, can you still handle yourself? And I thought he was talking about the movies, some stunts that I had to do. So he said, let me see you move around a little bit. And I thought maybe I was still testing for the part, so I got up and I started moving around a little bit, and he got up with me. And we start sparring a little bit. And this joker's got his hands closed.
Oh, jeez.
I said, well, now what I'm going to do, I ain't going to let this guy hit me. I want the part, but I ain't going to let him hit me. Now, nobody can hit me because I'm really fast. I can't hit hard, but I'm very, very fast. Right. They cannot hit. So I'm ducking and bobbing and weaving and moving around. He keeps trying to get shots into me. And finally, he gets inside, and we're bunched up, and he grabs me by the shirt. And he says, did you ever grapple? I said, say what? He said, you ever grapple? I said, no, sir, I never grappled. He said, I'm a grappler. You want to grapple? I said, well, okay. And we started wrestling around. And he tried to get me up off my feet and stuff, so I said, well, I got to go with it. And he rocks me back, and he rolls back, and he gets his legs into my chest, and he flips me over. And I hit a table, man. I hurt my hip. Now I'm mad. I'm on the ground, and he's on top of me. I said, that's it. Screwed apart, screw everything.
Right.
They're carrying this guy out. He ain't getting up. And he stopped. In the middle of everything, the cat stops. And he gets up, and he sits back down again. He says, you want a Coke? And we continue the conversation, and it was all over. Now, dissolve, I do the movie. As God is my judge, I'm telling you the right truth. This is not talk show jive.
Okay.
I swear on my children's life, I'm telling you the truth.
Okay.
I never saw him again. I never saw him before that or after that.
Right.
I saw him once at Barbara Streisand's house about that movie that I told you about a long time ago.
Yeah.
Now we do the movie. It's in the can. The movie comes out, and I got to go to this premiere thing that's in my contract. You got to go to premieres now. You got to promote movies. Your contract, you got to do everything, man.
They don't pay you for the movie. They pay you for all that other stuff that
But you got to do it.
You got to do it, yeah.
SAG, the rules say. So now I'm at the premiere, and they have a party afterward, and he comes up to me. And I said, I'm going to hit him. This time, if he gets in range, I'm going to hit him. I said, we ain't grappling this time. We're not going to grapple no more. You put your hands up, you're going to fall on the floor.
On the floor down.
And he said, no, 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 you don't understand. I was just testing you. I said, testing me for what? He said, well, you know, they said you were a troublemaker. We got a, you know, like a $300 million picture here, and I wanted to see if you were going to lose your stuff in the middle of the show. I wanted to find out if you were in control of your things.
Stable.
And so that's why he did it. He figured that if he got me alone, and I got crazy, he'd call the gendarmes
Yeah.
and go hire Dennis Hopper to play the part. So that's why that went down.
Interesting. I cannot thank you enough for visiting us here, and you know that we think the world of you, and I hope that you will consider this a regular stop in your travels.
I'll be back again.
Okay, yes, you will.
Send the limousine.
Yes, you will, and we will send the limousine, and for God's sake, hang on to the gorilla. We'll be right back to talk about revenge after these messages.